Hey, what's going on, everybody? This your boy Marcus Elbow. Welcome to Healthy Music. Today is a very special day for me. Today begins my diary of me really giving you a history of all the things that I have dealt with through my last pretty much 15 years or maybe more of me dealing with chronic illnesses. Now, this is not going to be anything sad or anything like that. It will be heartfelt. But to be honest, my goal with this is to inform and help anyone out there that has been dealing with some of these same illnesses and to let you know that you're not alone. They're not going to be long. I'm going to try to keep them somewhere around 5 minutes. And in the process, I'm going to make music while I'm narrating this video. And we're going to start with one, and I don't know where we're going to end up, but this is the first one. So thank you for clicking on this video, and welcome to my journey.
Hey, live better, feel better, you'll make better music.
I cannot start this. I can't start this story off without bringing up my mom, Mary. She was a very strong woman. She can cook her ass off too. But she dealt with a lot of the same illnesses that I deal with. And in my community, it is a custom for most parents, if in most cases it's only one parent, to not burden their children with their problems and their illnesses and things like that. They prefer to just keep it to themselves and let the kid believe, or the kids believe, that everything is fine, to keep the stress levels down. And I get that, right? But I do not believe that's the way that we should be. I believe that the more information you give your kids about what you're dealing with can eventually help them not go down the same road that you're on. Maybe they can do some things, ahead of time to stop some of these illnesses from essentially crippling their life. But my mom, she was a good woman. She really believed that what she was doing was right. And she dealt with a lot of the same illnesses. She dealt with high blood pressure. She dealt with diabetes. She dealt with heart disease and eventually kidney failure and then death. She died when she was 53 years old. But I remember this vividly because I'm the youngest of three boys. Unfortunately, my brother Sean died at 43, about 12 years ago. So my mom died at 53, he died at 43. My other brother as well, he doesn't deal with any of these illnesses. And there's me that have pretty much genetically been plagued with all of these diseases that my mom and brother had somewhat, but mostly my mom and her dad. But I remember vividly because I remember always being with my mom because I was the youngest, and always being in the hospital with her. I hated it. I was just a kid, so I really did not want to be there. I felt like it was something else I'd rather be doing, even though I love my mom, and I just didn't understand why she was always in the hospital or in the clinic. And unfortunately, since I was so young, I had to be there with her because, of course, she couldn't afford a babysitter or anything like that. And my brother was gone, and my other brother was gone, so it was just me and her. So majority of the time, I found myself sitting inside of clinics, playing with other kids, or, just watching TV or whatever. And it usually lasts all day because my mom was on Medicaid because she could not afford health insurance. So that was pretty much my childhood up until about around 17, 18, when my mom really started getting bad. And it got worse. I tried to, do some other things, and I was off to school and doing some other stuff. And then my mom eventually passed away when I was 23, which was a very difficult day. But I did not believe that I was going to be plagued with these same illnesses. I just didn't. I felt great at 23, 24, all the way up until I turned 30. And when I turned 30, something changed. I remember I used to get these it was like a second of like a blackout where I would be walking or working or doing something, and then all of a sudden I would get lightheaded and I would just blank out of it. And I'm like, oh, what was that? But I would continue on, not really thinking that anything was going on. I was just like, I must be tired, or it must be just, whatever. I didn't really think that I was dealing with anything because, again, I felt great. I didn't feel like I was sick or anything like that. Eventually, me and my wife, she was like, we need to go to the doctor. We got to get you checked out to make sure you don't have some of the same stuff your mom had. I was like, I don't think so, but, we can go, whatever. So we ended up going to the clinic. And they took my blood pressure, and they was like, your blood pressure is a little high. And I was like, okay, what do I have to do? And they was like, well, you're going to need to take medicine, or you're going to need to eat better, exercise. I was like, I shoot basketball every other day. They was like, no, you're going to have to eat better because, but we recommend you take this medicine because you've been having these kind of blackouts. And you could have a stroke or something. And I'm like, come on, I'm 30 years old. Like, I'm not going to stroke out. I'm good. So they gave me the medicine, and I took it for like a couple of days, but it made me feel worse. Now that I think about it, it really was probably dropping my blood pressure to a normal level, but I had been operating with my blood pressure so high that I actually felt worse. But I didn't understand that at the time because, again, I had no education about the health and the history of my family and my mom and things like that. So I didn't really understand what was going on. So I stopped taking the medicine. Well, I kind of skated through the next year or so, and finally, I was inside of I was at a Home Depot with my job, and I was looking for some parts, and all of a sudden, I reached up to grab a part, and I almost fainted. This blackout was the worst blackout that I had ever experienced. Luckily, I had a coworker there with me. So when this happened, he was like, yo, bro, you look flush. You don't look good. We may need to call an ambulance. I'm like, nah, don't call an ambulance. Just take me around the corner to the clinic. I get around the corner to the clinic, and when I'm there, they're taking my blood pressure, and they're all looking weird. And I'm like, what's going on? And the nurse was like, hold on, let me let the doctor take it. So the doctor came in, and the doctor's like, let me see what's going on. So he takes my blood pressure, and the look on his face was like, yo, we need to call an ambulance. And I'm like, what's going on? And he was like, look, just stay calm. Don't say anything. We're going to call an ambulance, and we're going to get you to the hospital. I'm starting to panic. My heart is racing. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, again, I had no knowledge of what high blood pressure could do to you. I've heard rumors, I've heard hypertension, I've heard these things, but again, I had no experience, no knowledge about what was going on with me. The ambulance came, they stuck a big ass IV, my first IV of many more to come, trust me when I tell y'all. They stuck me with this huge IV, which really hurt. And the whole time I'm inside of this ambulance, I'm thinking, all I could think about was my mom and what she went through. And it was rough, no one was there with me. It was just me. My wife was at work. The kids were at school. I'm just in a daze, I'm saying to myself, man, here we go. I didn't think I had everything my mom had. I just was like, I don't really know what's going on. I'm hoping and praying that I don't have, or go through what my mom was going through or went through. So we get to the emergency room. Everything is a blur at this point. They're scrambling. They're trying to get me in, some medicine to get my blood pressure down. Finally, they admit me into the room. My wife comes in probably an hour later, whatever it was. She had to go get the kids, this and that. And she comes in, and then the doctor comes in, and he says, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 32. And he's like, I'm sorry to tell you this, but our blood work show that you have a lot of issues going on in your body. I'm like, what are you talking about? He says, well, from my chart here, you have high cholesterol, you're borderline diabetic, and you have hypertension. It was hard. All I could think about was I got everything my mom had. And I vaguely knew what my mom had. I wasn't totally oblivious to what was going on with her. But yeah, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I could not believe it. And my wife was there, my kids were there, and he said, you're going to have to change your life. This is serious. If you do not change your life, you're not gonna have a healthy life, and you're gonna leave this earth early. And again, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Man, I feel good. I mean, okay, I got a little lightheaded, okay? But I don't have everything my mom had. There's no way in hell. Because I would think that if I had what my mom had, then I would have showed signs early on. It was early on. And that was the beginning of my long fight with chronic illnesses. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Live better, feel better, make better music. I'm out.